grow up inside this matrix or this box and you can't see outside of it. But you're wired for a different reality. So you still want to have sex with this woman, with other women. She wants to have sex with you, other men. But the box, and it's a mental box that we're born into, that we're basically forced upon us, teaches us that this is not the case, or this shouldn't be the case. It puts a veil over the man's eyes about how the woman is, and then the woman puts a veil over herself in front of the man to make him think she's a certain way, because she needs to protect her virtue to get his resources. So she has to pretend she's not sexual. The man is told, not just by this woman, but by everyone else, that women aren't sexual. And that female beauty, this is another part of the pedestal. This is another component. There's actually like 5 components of the pedestal, and understanding them will give you a tremendous, almost like X-ray vision, or like mind reading with women, because you just understand now how she's really thinking. You understand how her thinking has been conditioned by our cultural matrix. And I break that down in Sexual Supremacy, and it's in book 2, which is Illumination, which is all about building awareness of women, understanding women. So one other part of this pedestal that I was going to tell you is, we live in a culture where a woman's value is based on her physical beauty. And of course, a woman's value is based on her physical beauty. When I see a beautiful woman, I get turned on. I mean, that's just nature working. But what makes a woman beautiful is where the cultural conditioning comes in. So the definition of beauty has changed. You can see, the sculptures, the prehistoric sculptures of really curvy, what we would call fat women. That was considered beautiful. Then you can go through Greece, Rome, all the way up through the Middle Ages. Women with more curves. In America we like large breasts, right? So, and most of, I would say, Europe does. But in Brazil, what's considered the ideal beauty is a big butt and small breasts. Okay? So you can see that the physical beauty aspect it's really, we say, oh, well, that, large breasts must indicate fertility. I don't think so. I don't buy that. Fertility, a woman with small breasts and large breasts is going to have the same fertility. Okay? A woman with, big lips or thin lips is going to have the same fertility. All that requires a woman to make a guy horny, to be fuckable, to make you excited, is that she's physically healthy. And that, in terms of her body, there's a wide range. So when we talk about a big part of the pedestal is that some women, depending on the culture, a certain look or certain physical traits will appear more valuable. And so in America, a woman can have a small butt, big tits, and she's considered beautiful. For me personally, that wouldn't really turn me on. I wouldn't really be all that excited about it. That's my personal preference. I like lower body curves, okay? But, how can I put it? Let me say, this actually is a good way to illustrate this. When I see a woman with, maybe a small butt, she's more on the thin side, she has large breasts, I will still think she's sexy. I'll still get turned on. I'll still, want to fuck her, definitely. But if it's a choice between, let's say, a woman with that body type versus a woman who's maybe a little curvier, has more of a big butt and small breasts, I'm going to pick the curvier, the woman with the big butt. That's just what I like. So when I see this thin woman with large tits, I don't say, oh, I don't put her on a pedestal. Actually, what'll happen is I'll put this other woman on the pedestal. Whereas another guy might put this woman on the pedestal. The reason why is because physical traits have been linked to value. But as long as the woman's physically healthy, as long as there's nothing really wrong with her, no physical trait is more valuable than the next. So as long as this woman doesn't have like some sort of genetic problem, I don't know, diabetes, heart problems, some sort of disorder, she's on an objective level just as beautiful as any other woman who's healthy. What changes is the value. We've been taught, men have been taught, that a woman's physical traits determine her value, in addition to her lack of sexual history. A virgin being obviously the most valuable. Maybe not so much anymore, but for most of civilized history, let's say, civilized, right? So that's another part of this pedestal. As you can see a beautiful woman, to you she's beautiful, maybe to other guys she's not. Nonetheless, her physical beauty doesn't make her more valuable. All it means is you want to fuck her. So in that sense, the fact that she would be fun to have sex with makes her valuable. But that value isn't something above you. Okay? So, and if you, going back to understanding women, understanding female sexuality, when you realize that what turns a woman on the most is being desired by a strong man, by a man who thinks like a leader, being desired by him, is what turns a woman on. So it's like when you desire her, that triggers her desire. I've seen this personally a million times where a woman will just sort of be kind of in neutral, and then I'll become sexual. I'll get turned on. I'll get horny, and I'll express that to her, and then she'll get horny. So your desire for a woman makes you valuable to her. Okay, as long as you're not, as long as you're, let's say, sexy, as long as you're valuable in terms of how you think, you're a leader. In terms of, wrapping up with dating multiple women, there's a couple just very basic, simple techniques you can do to maintain a sexual relationship with a woman without setting up expectations that you don't intend on meeting or that you don't want to meet. In other words, a monogamous, serious relationship. Without lying, essentially quelling her fears, kind of dealing with that anxiety factor that she has about sex that men don't. But also giving her what she wants as a sexual woman, as a woman in the 21st century who, for the first time in who knows how long, is feeling like she can actually be herself on a sexual level. First thing is, don't spend a lot of money when you're hanging out. If she's spending the same amount of money, like you guys have to do something that's expensive, I don't know, you go to a theme park and it's like $60 to get in, that's okay. But you don't want to be, you don't want to be spending more money than the woman, a significant amount more money than the woman is when you spend time together. Do not go down that road. Do not set a precedent where you just pay for things. Okay? Typically for me, when I hang out with a woman, I'll do something, we'll do something more casual, get drinks, maybe some finger food or something like that. And I'll expect that I'm going to pay because, again, we're not out of the courtship phase. even though this woman probably has a job, she probably makes good money or decent enough money to afford her own food, we're still evolving out of this courtship phase. And the thing is, if I maybe try to get her to go Dutch, I say, okay, let's split this, I run the risk of looking cheap, which is bullshit, but we're so conditioned, our culture is so conditioned. Maybe I don't see things that way anymore. I'm thinking, okay, you got a job, you can pay for your food. However, she's not thinking that. But I'm gonna lead her there to friendship. And so as we spend more time together and get to know each other, it's gonna be her spending as much money as me. And really you wanna get away from like spending money. You don't wanna have to think of activities where you're like, you don't want the activity to be the point. You want it to be you and her. So you don't have to be going to fancy restaurants and that kind of thing. So careful with the money. However, okay, so tip one, be very careful with the money. Assume you're going to pay it first. If she wants to pay half or pay for all of it, whatever, let her. But, moving forward after that, you want it to be about 50-50. First date, I'll probably pay. Second date, we go out, maybe she'll pay for the meal, and then I'll pay for the tip. On the way back, I'll grab a bottle of wine on the way back to my place. Okay, so I'm still probably paying maybe equal, or it depends, but we're getting closer to that 50-50. And then from that point on, just like you probably do with your guy friends, oh, I got this, just get the thing at the next thing we do, just get that, right? Or, oh, I'll get your, we get hot dogs. Okay, I'll get this, just get me a drink, when we go out later. Stuff like that. So that's pretty much how I deal with women. But I won't necessarily verbalize it. I'll just sort of assume that she's going to contribute. And if a woman tries to like not pay or is like just not contributing, I'll basically just act confused. I'll just give her this look like she's speaking Chinese to me. Like, what? You want me to pay for all your food? But it's been a very long time since I experienced that, probably like maybe 4 or 5 years. And the woman that, I can remember this one particular woman, she kept expecting me to pay for stuff. And finally I was like, I'm not, this isn't a barter thing where I'm like paying and then you spend time with me. You're getting just as much out of this as me. So I'm not going to continue to pay for your meals or whatever it is we do together as if you're like some queen that I'm trying to appease. We're friends. You see me as an equal, or we don't really need to talk anymore. She got a little snippy and then she realized like I was right. And then we hung out a few more times, but she was just an annoying person in general. Or she got more annoying as I got to know her. So I almost wonder if that was sort of a symptom or a byproduct of some very bad flaws in her personality. Most women, cool women, healthy, intelligent, reasonably good women won't try to milk you, okay? Second tip is escalate without hesitation. So don't miss opportunities to move things forward sexually, unless for some reason you're not ready. So like if you see a window where you can bring her back to your place, sleep with her, or at least get physical with her, do it. Unless like you're exhausted or I don't know, some physical issue where you just can't or whatever, logistics maybe. In general, escalate as fast as you can. And that doesn't mean rush. That doesn't mean drag her into the bathroom within 3 minutes of meeting her. That can happen too. But in general, what this means is each woman is going to have a different level of comfort with the sexual process. It's going to matter you and her chemistry. You'll know that you're doing this right when women, are saying things like, you'll know you're doing this right when before you're about to have sex, you'll notice that she's just a little bit like nervous, and you can see her maybe get a little like, she's horny. You can tell she's horny. Maybe when you were kissing, touching, she was breathing heavy. When you start to have sex, you can see in her eyes that she's worried. And it's not worried like she's like you're raping her, like it's a bad thing, like you're doing something bad to her. What that look is she's concerned that you'll disappear after she has sex with you. Why would she be concerned about that? Because she likes you. That's why she's there. That's one indicator that you're moving at a speed that's probably a little faster than what she was expecting or used to. That's an indicator that you're having sex before she felt like she got you invested in the courtship. That's very important, not just for you, but for her. Because if you don't, and she's just playing a game that she was taught to play, but if you get invested in this courtship, that's a game she's playing. You're being manipulated. She wants to have sex with you, and so she's not, because she's afraid of something. So she's manipulating. She's putting the brakes on for a concern that hopefully is not really there, that you'll just disappear. That brings me to my next tip. So basically, to wrap that up, don't hesitate. Learn how to escalate physically. Okay, learn how to turn women on. Learn how to speak in a way that resonates with women's sexuality. That gets into like really specific, kind of understanding women, the control process. That's all laid out in Sexual Supremacy. It would be sort of a waste of time to break it down now. You could just listen to that and hear it in a much more ordered and step-by-step kind of organized way. But escalate. Fuck women. Okay, get there. And the next step, have good sex. Good sex means two things, I think. Explore the woman, learn about what makes her feel good. Take your time, explore her body, kiss her, touch her, enjoy all the different parts of her body. Learn how she likes to be kissed and touched, and then also when you're fucking her, try it a little bit different way. Maybe more shallow thrust, deeper thrust. Just pay attention. You don't want it to be like this, science experiment, but just pay attention to what she's responding to. On the flip side, you're expressing herself. On the flip side, you're expressing yourself. And when you're fucking a woman, when you're touching her, foreplay, everything leading up to it, express yourself verbally, with your hands, with your mouth, and then when you're fucking her, with your cock. Show her who you are. Show her your body. Show her your passion, your desire for her through your hands. Talk with your hands, right? Talk with your dick. When I'm fucking a woman, I'm really trying to express how I'm feeling through this sort of like apex or point extending from me, going into her. Okay, and I want her to feel my cock. I want her to feel how hard I am for her. I want her to know it on a very intimate level. I want my dick to be her best friend, all right? So in order to do that, I really have to express myself. Verbally am I expressing myself, telling her how beautiful I think she is, all the different parts of her that I like, how pretty her nipples are, how I like her little wrists, grabbing her wrists and, kind of pinning them back, kissing her, licking her, everywhere that I want to kiss her and lick her. I look at a point on her chest, I say, I want that, and I put my lips on her and suck, right, and bring my tongue up her neck, up to her ear, come back, look her in the eye, tell her how beautiful she is, how sexy she is, how badly I want to fuck her, kiss her on the lips, slide my cock into her, make her feel me. Now I'm expressing myself. As I'm doing that, I'm also paying attention to what she's responding to. Okay? So that's how to be good in bed in a nutshell, right? I have a lot of more specific stuff in terms of like how to get blowjobs, get her to really enjoy that, going down on her, a lot of really specific things you can do to a woman's body to get her turned on, more specific like sex stuff, like how to fuck a woman's brains out, be the best she's ever had. Again, I lay all that out in Sexual Supremacy. But, you know, basically give her good sex, okay? So now what you've done is you've set a precedent where you're getting off the courtship track. You're creating a sexual connection. And at the same time, you're also creating an emotional connection because you're getting away from the courtship, which is you impressing her, trying to use deception to get sex from her, and you're communicating as equals, as friends. And that's where, you know, how do you become friends with someone? You're both yourselves. You're authentic with each other, and you like it. You have chemistry. Not always. Maybe you're being yourself, someone else is being themselves, they're being authentic, and you don't get along too well. Usually, though, when people are being authentic, they'll get along. There'll at least be mutual respect. And this will just exponentially increase your chances of having chemistry. You know, for me, I have chemistry with every woman I sleep with. Everyone in my life I have really strong chemistry with. That's because of changes I made. You look back maybe a few years, maybe 10 years ago, I had chemistry with like damn near nobody. I didn't feel connected to anybody. It's because of changes I made. Part of that is not just being authentic, but learning how to draw out authenticity in others. The last tip is sort of a combination of two things. Let a woman know where you're at in life, and say, you know, I like you, I respect you, and I care about you. I don't want to do anything that's going to hurt you. Okay? I don't want to do anything that's going to hurt you. I'm not interested in starting a family, getting married. I like spending time with you. I'm dating, obviously. And I don't want much more than that right now. I don't want a girlfriend right now. You can say this, I would say this maybe after the first or second time you have sex. The fear there is that she's going to not want to talk to you again, and now, oh shit, now I got to meet another girl to have sex with, right? That's the guy's fear. It's like it can sometimes feel like a lot of effort to finally have sex, and then you're saying something that could potentially ruin it. But again, that comes from not understanding how women really are. It's not that they want a boyfriend. It's that they don't want to be abandoned after fucking you. And so you're communicating that right there. Now, I will say from experience, you're going to run into women, when they like you, they're going to worry that you're going to leave them for another woman if they think you're meeting other women, sleeping with other women. There's going to be this fear there. Basic female jealousy, you know, competition. Men compete with each other, women compete with each other. But if she likes you, there's going to be the fear that you're going to meet a woman that you like better and forget about her. You have to. So that's what's going to happen is you might get some tantrums, you might get some crying, you might get some 10 texts, just walls of her going after you on the text message, trying to understand why you don't want to be her boyfriend or whatever. All you have to do is remind her that you don't intend on abandoning her, your connection is real, you do care about her, that you don't want a monogamous relationship right now. You don't want the time that it's going to require, you don't want to feel obligated, you want to have the option of meeting other people. If she's not okay with that, this is probably the scary thing, but this is what I've found works and actually will garner a lot of respect with the woman, a lot of emotional safety with the woman as well. Respect, safety being gates of control. Those are receptive states you trigger. Safety in the sense that, wow, you're being really honest. She can be herself with you. She doesn't have to put up any front and pretend to be like a good girl or virtuous. if she doesn't want to, she can be who she really is too. If she has considered maybe meeting other guys, she'll feel like she can do that now, which having that freedom to do that will allow her to stay with you, maintain her connection with you, because it's not an either or. You've created that dynamic now where it's not either or, you can do both.